In this segment, instead of jumping into like all the parameters on an EQ and explaining how it all works, I'm going to do that in a later segment. I thought I would show you some more EQ in action and explain sort of bird's eye view of why we're going to use EQ and how it can make a big difference in all stages of your recordings and mixes. And I want to start from the last end of the chain in mastering. Actually, I want to show you the power of an EQ, and a great way to show that I think is in mastering, because when people think about mastering, I know this is a mixing course, but when you think about mastering, a lot of times we're thinking about special effects to make your mix sound even better, but most of good mastering is EQ. And it's really, really simple. So what I've got is another track here. If I bring up my memory locations, got another track here of mine that I want to, this is like a final mix. And so it's just a stereo track, and it has not been mastered. So this is, you know, we finished our mix, we're feeling good about it. I rendered it out into a stereo wave file, and we're right here. Get to a chorus. If I was given this track to master, the first thing I would do is say, let's use an EQ to make this mix. Maybe it sounds okay, but I hear some problems. Like, even though I know I'm the mix engineer in this song, I hear some things I probably would have done differently. I listened to this track and I think it's a little muffled. There's a little bit of low-mid stuff that's happening. Something in there that I want to clear it up, I want to brighten it up. So what I'm going to do is show you how powerful a simple EQ is. I'm going to grab a stock EQ here, the EQ 7-band in Pro Tools. This comes with Pro Tools, and pretty much every major DAW is going to have a digital EQ like this. And it's going to have all these frequency points we can grab and move around. And I'm going to explain all these knobs in a later segment so you'll feel real at home with it. But at its core, you probably understand what an EQ can do. So let's see if we can use a simple EQ to sculpt this mix and make it even better, even though we can't go in and adjust the individual tracks. So the first thing I hear when I hear this track is some of that low-mid stuff that's building up. So what I'm going to do is try to clear up some of that. There, I'm going to pull some out, and I'm going to explain everything I'm doing here, but let me just show you what we can do here. I'm going to pull just a dB and a half of that out. That's around 400 hertz. Let's see. What I'm doing here is I kind of feel like the snare drum, it was like a really round sounding fat snare drum, but it doesn't have a lot of like crack or sizzle to it. So I'm trying to bring out some of the snare drum even on this mix that I can't really adjust the snare track. So I'm going to, right around 3.5K, 3.7 sounds really cool. I might do a little bit of a bump there. This little shelf here is kind of opening up the top end a little bit. Some of the cymbals were a little muffled, and so I'm kind of bringing that out a bit. But then also there's a little bit of low end here that I kind of want to tame a bit. It seems to be out of control. Let's play with that here for a second. Take some of that out. All right, so here's what I've got. I'm going to press play. We've done 4 little EQ moves on this EQ. Nothing more than a 1.5 dB real change. So a little bit of a cut, a little bit of a boost. These are really subtle moves. and just take a listen at home, take a listen, and then try to listen to what you hear happening to the mix as I bypass this EQ. It doesn't really matter what I was doing necessarily as much as I want to show you how subtle moves in an EQ make a massive difference even on this stereo track.